NewsBiscuit. Real fake news.
Welcome to NewsBiscuit, the UK's original fake news. NewsBiscuit, unlikely to bring peace to the Middle East. I'm your host, Wrenfoe, and I'm joined by three GB News rejects. Hokiloki.
Morning.
Mrs. Wrenfoe.
Hello.
And FlashArry.
Good morning.
Mrs. Wrenfoe, you're going to abandon us halfway through. Is this correct?
Yes, I need to leave by 9:40 at the absolute latest.
And what excuse are you using to leave this?
Well, one of us needs to take our daughter to football, and I'm assuming since I'm the one who can drive cars, it's probably going to be me.
See, that's poor that she's having to make these kind of lies this early in the morning. We don't even have children. She's made up a fictional child just to get out of doing the podcast. That is poor.
Would you like us to tune out for a bit?
Yes, there's usually a 10-15 minute domestic row at the start of every podcast that we edit out. But if you two could be here for at least therapy purposes, we'll make a start, shall we? This month sees police chase Captain Tom's family very slowly around a garden. HS2 is shortened to just H. And Liz Truss returns just in time for Halloween. And do you think you're a big fan of Liz Truss, are you?
There were lots of small children in the family, and I'm just thinking of the trauma.
Again, I wonder if over the Halloween period they should get a pumpkin out and see if the pumpkin lasts longer than Liz again.
I don't think that's a fair comparison. Pumpkins last for a long. I've had some of those fuckers at the end of my garden for months and months, trying to get rid of them, hoping that they will decompose. They never go. So I don't think that's a fair comparison.
They're a stubborn vegetable.
They are stubborn, difficult to cut up as well. On the Captain Tom thing, can we talk about the picture of his daughter next to the chair that looks like they've turned? She's basically had Captain Tom stuffed as a chair. I don't know if the two of you have seen that picture. That's probably my favourite image. I appreciate, visual jokes not ideal for a podcast, which is by its nature entirely audio, but it's probably my favourite picture of the whole year. I urge anybody listening, go and dig that photo out.
Let's describe it, because it's his uniform, isn't it?
Yes.
And it's even got his medals on it. And I think was she charging people to sit on it?
No, probably.
But maybe you should do that to all sort of dead relatives, is get them turned into furnishings.
Well, I do quite like that idea. I can see the appeal of having kind of like, taxidermy bodies of dead relatives, styled as a mantelpiece.
People just shouting out, "Don't sit on my dead aunt." What? Oh, sorry, I didn't realise.
Yeah, Grandad recycled as a tall boy.
This brings us to our first round, News in Brief, where our panellists select their favourite headlines. FlashArry, we'll start with you. What have you got?
Greggs to replace AA as UK's fourth emergency service. Government changes definition of wine to include Blue Nun.
That's the Trade Description Act right there. Blue Nun is not. I don't even describe it as something that's edible. I mean,
That was my tipple of choice at university when I wanted to seduce a lady.
I don't know how we're married. It's a utter mystery.
It showed an element of sophistication on my part, I thought.
Did it? It showed an element of something on your part.
Frugalness.
Man disappointed that letters to local paper have negligible effect.
Surely not. Say it's not so. That's because he's sending them in without the obligatory sad face photo. You only get a response from the media if you send in your letter with sad face next to it, looking distressed next to like a can of baked beans that wasn't where you thought it was going to be in the local shop. Then you get
It's blown out of proportion. I haven't sent in that many. I don't know where this comes from.
UK obesity epidemic could lead to ink shortages by Christmas, warned to tourists.
I had a great uncle who had a naked lady on his arm, and it was nice about it was she
A
aged
tattoo.
with. Yeah.
Yes.
Just generally, yes. He just carried her around like a parrot. She didn't mind. She was an elegant lady. But obviously, what was quite nice is that she properly aged with him. Yeah, when he got wrinkled, she got wrinkled. When he got more and more hairy, which he definitely did, she definitely got more hairy. Yeah, that was like the picture of Dorian Gray, but not really. Mrs. Wrenfoe.
pervert with chainsaw gets wood from cutting down trees. Although a pervert with a chainsaw is terrifying. I mean, like that's literally like 24 hours in A&E waiting to happen, right?
I assume a pervert with a chainsaw is how most Hollywood horror movies start, with the premise. And then they kind of construct a narrative around it. What else you got?
Do you want me to wait until FlashArry returns?
Look, nobody knows at home that he's just dropped out of the Zoom chat.
Yes, but I assume that you'll edit this bit out as opposed to us wondering about his whereabouts.
No, I'm keeping this in now because this becomes very meta. And young kids like that, where there's a sense of, you're like, yeah, is this real? Is this not? Are we through the looking glass? Are we broken the fourth wall? Yeah, FlashArry's dropped out of the call at the moment.
You can't cope with the thought of a pervert with a chainsaw. It's too much for him at this time on a Saturday morning.
It's because his cover's been blown, you see. That's what it is.
Oh, is it him?
Yeah, he's going to have to get another Halloween outfit now.
I really liked, off topic, but I really liked the front page of the Daily Star this morning. Not a newspaper that I read, but the BBC brilliantly do a summary of all the newspaper headlines. And entertainingly, they always include the Daily Star within it. And the front page, the Daily Star, I urge you all to go and have a look. But I can't remember the exact headline, but it's something on the line, man in gimp suit insists I am not a gimp. He's basically arguing that while he's wearing a suit that is effectively that of a gimp, it is not in itself a gimp suit, because apparently he's been terrorising people in his neighbourhood. But my favourite thing in the whole thing is that Daily Star has looked at everything happening in the world today and gone, this is the #1 story.
Yes.
Bravo, Daily Star, bravo.
I mean, the people in Gaza at the moment, obviously under intense bombing and the internet's been cut off to them. But I think if they had access to that story, I think their lives would be better.
Sycamore Gap to be turned into service station. Hollywood inundated with scripts about writers' strike. I don't even know if this is that proud. I suspect that's completely true. I genuinely think, having once worked briefly in the performing arts myself, I absolutely think that is completely true. There's going to be a load of people out there.
It's the first advice to all writers, isn't it? They say write about what you know.
Yes.
So writers, are they going to get in this insane loop where they're just writing about strikes and then writing about strikes, and then writing about strikes, and then they'll sort of disappear into some weird alternate universe.
That's very, very meta. That's very meta.
Have you just learned that word from me today?
Yeah, I have. That's going to be my word. You beautifully mansplained meta to me. So now, as a lady, I feel I can use it in conversation.
That's how the patriarchy is going to get pulled down.
I really enjoyed
plagiarism.
I really enjoyed it. As a family, we were up in London. My daughter sat in the back of the car with my husband, Wrenfoe, and my 16-year-old son. And they got out the back of the taxi. I was sat in the front afterwards, and she looked over at me and she went, I just need to tell you, they were doing a lot of manspreading in the back of that taxi. And I was like, excellent, good. And finally, woman who keeps forgetting her email password has had to rename her cat 5 times. That genuinely made me laugh out loud because I mean that seems, given the number of passwords, that seems not unreasonable. I'll be honest.
That is the easier option.
Yeah. Just gonna rename the cat. And we've got 4 cats, so that could be a lot of passwords. These are missed opportunities.
Yeah, every cat now has the word hashtag in there somewhere.
Harry's disappeared again.
He has.
Is that why he's called Flash? Is that why he's called FlashArry?
Yes.
He only pops up briefly.
Each time wearing different outfits, sometimes naked. You just don't know. That's the fun of it. Hokiloki, what have you got? Oh, hold on. Before you give us your ones, hold on.
He's back.
Harry, again. Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Harry.
This is fun, isn't it?
Yes, it's. Are you in Gaza where they're cutting off the internet? Is this what's happening?
Well, I didn't like to say.
Oh, it's very brave of you turning out today. If you find you're losing signal and stuff, possibly cut off the video. You're obviously a beautiful man, but you might find using less bandwidth and you won't drop out.
That's bending the definition of beautiful and man to.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Sorry, Hokiloki, what have you got?
15-minute city still has 8-hour wait in A&E. Government hails UK scientists' discovery of doesn't matter particles. I don't know what happens after doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
no
doesn't matter.
one cares.
No one cares. No, I think disinterest is a very powerful thing in the universe, generally speaking. But there was, talking about particle stuff, there was a thing I noticed, the Hadron Collider was ground to a halt this week because a weasel had got trapped in it. I like the fact they've built this Hadron Collider and, obviously this incredible piece of science technology. Obviously, it won't let out the smallest particle at all, except the fact they've left a big weasel-sized hole in it.
Do you think it was actually cut in the shape of a weasel?
What, just a sideways? So it even just went in sideways?
Yeah,
I mean, I was just thinking a hole, but you're thinking actually the shape of the...
Yeah, so ensuring no other animal could go in. There's probably some kind of different experiment they're running there.
A quantum weasel?
A quantum weasel, which you can tell that Marvel have now scraped the bottom of the barrel when they're releasing the movie Quantum Weasel in the multiverse.
I would watch Quantum Weasel. I also really like that FlashArry literally appeared to say Quantum Weasel, and now he's disappeared again. Genius.
And we never heard from him again. Wouldn't it be great if those were your last words? He said Quantum Weasel. That's very weird. Very niche.
I'm going to say, isn't the quantum world a bit like that, isn't it, really?
Yes, FlashArry is living out quantum weasels in real life.
Exactly. Drifting in and out of consciousness.
Disney announces Bed Bugs and Broomsticks movie will be filmed in Paris.
That is brilliant, and I would also watch that movie as well.
Labour's last policy dies in captivity.
And even if they have a policy, they change it within about 24 hours. Keir Starmer, he's amazing. I mean, politicians lie. Politicians have always lied. I've just never seen someone sort of lie so quickly and so consistently and so unashamedly. And I'm talking about someone who could remember Boris Johnson. He's a very funny soul. And I don't think he realizes we record things. There was, again, related to the Gaza stuff, he was asked the question, is it right that you cut off the electricity and the food and stuff to Gaza? And his response to it was, yeah, it's absolutely fine for that to happen. And then obviously, everyone else was turned around and went, hold on, that's a bit of a war crime. You shouldn't really do that. And then he went on TV and everything went, well, I didn't say that at all. Why are you saying that I said that? We're going, we've got the recording. This is you. These are your actual words. He's like, I don't think you heard those words correctly. And you go, what? So it's very weird. Anyway, yes, thank you, Labour. Very depressing. Any others, Hokiloki?
That's enough for now, I think.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Keir Starmer. That's enough for now. Right, our next round then is True Biscuit, where our panel has to guess which is a real headline and which is a fake one. Mrs. Wrenfoe, as you're disappearing.
Dulwich woman finds the arse of Jesus in a packet of Monster Munch.
The arse of Jesus.
Yep, the arse of Jesus.
How would you know it was Jesus's arse as opposed to other pairs of buttocks? I don't remember in the Bible. Is there reference to Jesus's arse being particularly sort of distinctive?
We're actually talking about ass here rather than us.
So it could be a translation thing from American to English. Oh, good thinking.
So it's a donkey.
Yeah.
A happy little donkey.
Yeah, he did ride a donkey. That was definitely sure. And I really don't remember any reference in the Bible to, Jesus having sweet buns or anything like that.
The fundamentalists would have a field day with that, wouldn't they?
Well, no, I mean, it's definitely written as arse rather than ass. So she says, I was watching Loose Women. I was eating some Monster Munch when I found one in the exact shape of Jesus' arse. I couldn't believe it. It was such a spiritual experience. And then she goes on to answer the question we've probably all got, which is, I know you're going to say it could have been anyone's arse.
Oh, yeah.
But I could tell straight away it was the arse of Jesus, because who else but the Son of God could have sent me such an important sign?
Well, the manufacturers of Monster Munch would be capable of doing such a thing.
I mean, but this is why you've never found the arse of Jesus in your packet of Monster Munch, because I just don't think you're there.
And God knows I've looked. I've eaten so many Monster Munch just to find the arse. And so did she eat arse in the end, or has she preserved the arse?
Well, no, because she was asked, she was asked whether she could, sort of show the evidence effectively of the arse. But she responded with, well, no, I ate it because obviously this is beef flavoured Monster Munch. It's delicious. But the evidence of her spiritual experience was not right. But maybe one shouldn't need to have the evidence. One should just believe. And
actually, I mean, that is strong evidence, actually, that it is beef flavoured. Of all the flavours, that's this flavour I'd assume Jesus's arse would taste like. Yeah. I can't see it being salt and vinegar. He's not that kind of guy.
How do vegetarians feel about this?
But didn't he say, eat my flesh, it tastes of beef?
So the transmutation, the host is actually, they could replace it with Monster Munch.
When you go up and you eat the body of Christ and stuff, now instead of them giving you a little thin wafer, you could either get given a piece of Monster Munch, lovely, who wouldn't like that, or the priest bends over and you just gnaw at his anus as God would have wanted. But I'm just questioning whether you would run with it as a story without any verifiable evidence at all, given that she'd ate the evidence.
When has that ever stopped our media? Ever? Come on now.
Yes, these last couple of weeks alone have shown me how terrible our media is. They'll report anything on just kind of one person say so.
I think probably it's false.
Yeah, because it's Mrs. Wrenfoe and she lies a lot. That's fair. You didn't say that out loud, but I can see it in your face.
I regularly see images in my food, so I will go with true because I'm a gullible idiot.
Yes, you are. That's why you're on this show regularly, Harry.
Exactly. Time after time.
We love you for it. Mrs. Wrenfoe.
It is total nonsense.
Oh, Mrs. Wrenfoe, you manipulated us there. That is.
It is a story from the NewsBiscuit archives.
That genuinely felt like a proper story because it was that level of stupidity.
I know. When I first read it, I was like, I'm sure I've actually read this. It probably has been on the front page of the Daily Star at some point. I've probably read it. So
I like the fact because monster munches as well. They're sort of ridged, aren't they? They're sort of 4 lumps.
Yeah.
Aren't there? I like the idea that maybe that is Jesus's arse. That's why she could spot it straight away because he's got that distinctive 4 buttock look. Hokiloki, what's your story?
The Netherlands has so few prison inmates that at times in the last 20 years, it has taken in prisoners from other countries.
Ooh.
Oh, I feel like it's a Trivial Pursuit question now. So the Netherlands is Holland, right? That's the same
Yes.
place. I'm not very good at these, so I like to get my basics sorted first. But that's not Norway. That's it. Sorry, my geography is really bad because Norway is a place.
Are you going to do this with every country now?
No,
every
no,
country
no.
Netherlands isn't.
I was getting through to my point, which is Norway.
Yeah.
They don't have many prisoners, do they? Or somewhere in the Nordics, because other Nordic countries are available. But I don't know whether this is true of Netherlands. I'm just talking out loud. This is how I process information.
The thing is, I would have thought, surely you had an empty prison, that would just be fine. We'll just close down bits of it, as opposed to getting someone else's prisoners.
They want to keep it going. They want to, keep the employment going. There are people trained for these particular skills.
Applying that principle, then, let's say you were running out of serial killers and things, and people weren't getting murdered enough. Do they go, oh well, we can't have that not happening enough? Let's bring in some serial killers from elsewhere. I mean, just because you've got an empty prison doesn't mean you shouldn't have to feel obliged to fill it. That feels weird.
Exchange, like you did at school, like an exchange scheme. Is that, maybe? I don't know.
Wouldn't it be great if they sent exchange students? You go, oh, brilliant, I'll go to the Netherlands. You go, well, technically.
To be fair, if you took most students and, said, it's going to be a free trip with your mates on a bus, I think they'd be all right if there was a brief.
People would go.
Where are they getting these prisoners from? Like, is it particular countries?
Well, I know that Belgium has supplied some of these. Obviously, it's the country next door. So,
yeah, and Belgium's famous for their thuggish behaviour. Any Belgian people listening to this podcast, we know what you're like. You're a bunch of criminals. I love the idea that all everyone in Belgium is just like an excess of criminals. They don't know what to do with them.
My only resource of how people get transported from one prison to another is that bit in Silence of the Lambs where they take Hannibal Lecter and they put him in that special mask on that trolley. But I assume that's probably not how most prisoners are transported.
How dangerous do you think the people of Belgium are?
I don't know. I mean, you wouldn't want to take any chances. Is it like a high security jail, or is it like what category are the prisoners?
oh, that's a good question.
Oh, wow.
I think we established what category they are. They're Belgium, which is the dangerous of all the categories of prisoner.
I'm going to say it's false.
FlashArry's dropped off the line again. So I'll do an impression of FlashArry. Yes, I'd say. How good is this so far? It's uncanny.
It's uncanny. It's like
he's like he's here in the room. I'll go. Oh no, he's back again. Harry, are you there?
I am.
I was going to do an impression of you doing true or false, but I'll let you do an impression. Can you do an impression of FlashArry doing an impression of FlashArry?
Oh no, there's a
Very good. Well done. Right, it's true or false.
Having heard very little, I will go for true. Just like the idea of being able to transfer to a Dutch prison.
Yeah, it's not as kinky as you think it is, Harry.
Can you be sure?
Yeah, you'd all be overly excited, wouldn't you? Be the prisoner being transferred over. You go, it's all like weed and brothels and things, and they're like, no, it is just a prison. Oh, he's gone again? Did he?
He's gone away to think about Dutch prison.
Did he even say true or false?
I don't think so. I don't think so either.
Well, I'll see. true then?
It is actually true.
No way.
Well, I'm curious to know, and you probably don't have the data there. Is it because, I mean, literally, Holland's done a brilliant job, and there just aren't that many criminals, and well played them. What a wonderful society. Or have they inadvertently built an excess of prisons, and there's just thousands upon thousands of prisons which they now have to fill?
Or are they just very bad at catching them?
Yes, this could all be true. Yeah. Right. Okay. Thank you for that one. FlashArry, have you got a story for us?
I have.
Has he gone again?
And he's gone. That can be like a little game for the listeners of this podcast. It's like spot when FlashArry arrives.
Yeah.
This is like where's Wally for a podcast?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where's Harry?
That was a dramatic pause for effect. So,
It was.
Football match abandoned after Hearse drives onto pitch.
Oh.
Now, how bad was the injury that the player was faking?
It's at half time, so no players were involved.
Because you often, when a player goes down injured, the ref will come over to judge it first, and then he'll wave on the physio. I like the idea that he'll suddenly go, "Oh my God," frantically waving on a Hearse. Also, I think the players roll around that much. I think as a ref, I would be tempted to call on a Hearse just to call their bluff. You're going, if you are that injured, I think we'll bury you. And then oh no, looks you're fine now. Oh, what a surprise!
Well, I did attend a match where a player did go down very.
And Harry left us again, and we'll never know what the player went down on.
He's left us hanging. I obviously now need to leave, but
you're going as well. This is a farce.
I'll just put this bit in now so you can use it later, because I've heard enough of the story to give an opinion.
Oh yes.
So I think it's false stuff and nonsense, because if you've ever tried to get into a football match, those little turnstiles are very small. There is no way anybody is driving a Hearse through those turnstiles. So I think FlashArry disappearing in and out is made as total nonsense.
It's surely logistics. And you've judged it so early there, Mrs. Wrenfoe. I appreciate you've got to go now and tend to our fictional child.
Does FlashArry want to come around here and use this computer? Because it might be.
Don't mock.
Bye-bye, guys. It was nice to meet you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Now we can talk about her now. She's gone. Right. Okay. So, back to your Hearse.
There were two cars, one of which was a Hearse.
Oh, my gosh. So the whole
funeral entourage.
Oh, my word.
Oh, okay.
Driven by men in balaclavas who then proceeded to throw out leaflets highlighting how they weren't responsible for a spate of local incidents.
What? No, hold on. No. Hold on, Aaron. What? You can't just throw in random shit like that. So we've got this Hearse, and they're all wearing balaclavas. This IRA funeral. Because they're the only ones I can think of where people wore balaclavas.
It was a protest because they've been accused of various local crimes and stuff.
Yes, it's not a very convincing argument. You're saying I'm not a dodgy character, but here I am wearing a balaclava, committing an act of breaking and entering as we speak. What a strange protest. I mean, it's eye-catching, I grant you.
Left the cars in the middle of the pitch and then legged it.
Oh, my word. So cars and coffin and leaflets were all just left and they just ran away.
Yes.
Is this a dream you had, Harry? Because this is...
Yes.
It's got worse as it goes on. You're just adding extra surreal elements. Yeah, but you got to question the security guard who, because, you're right, yes, they have the people mow the lawn, but he's going to look at that. He's going to go, oh, I'm sure that's a Hearse. And they go, no, it's a lawnmower. And he goes, oh, fair enough, if you say so.
Got to be a Jeff Hearse joke in here, hasn't there, really?
Yes.
1966 World Cup. Got to get that in somehow.
Yeah. Well, it's a half-time entertainer books wrong Jeff Hearse.
Yeah.
Yes.
They think he's dead. He is now.
He's the only one who isn't now.
Yes.
Is he?
Jeff Hearse.
Sorry, yeah, Bobby Charlton died, didn't he, last week? I wasn't involved. I'd just like to put that out there.
Very quick to deny.
Yes, well, the long-standing feud between me and the Charlton family goes back years, and we don't like to talk about it. Just to say, both brothers are dead now. Okay, Hokiloki, you have the sole judgment. I mean, obviously, Mrs. Wrenfoe had her opinion earlier, but that was based on scant evidence. Now you've got the additional information of the fact that they were wearing balaclavas and they were crooks and all that stuff. I'm sure you'll be leaning towards true.
It's got to be true.
Yes, it is true.
No, it's not. Shush. This is the
All
first
right,
time
then it's
Hokiloki's been on it. Stop playing with him. Is it true?
Yes, it's true. Friendly match was abandoned at half-time amid extraordinary scenes which stunned
yes.
lots of supporters.
I mean, those for once are extraordinary scenes. I mean, sometimes they say that at football grounds, and it just means there's been a streaker, an extraordinary scene. But someone driving a Hearse and leaving it there in the middle of the pitch, that is extraordinary.
2 people in ski masks jumped out the Hearse in the silver car and ran off.
Declaring, we're not crooks, we're not wrong-uns. That's so. You always want to know what the next story in that sequence is, because it feels like there's follow-ups. You can't just leave it at that. That's almost like a cliffhanger. Did they steal the Hearse? I mean, was there actually a dead body in it, or
that would be a higher level of taking without consent, wouldn't it?
I just like the idea that somewhere there's a church where they're burying a load of old football equipment. Yeah, that doesn't look like Grandad at all. It's an old sock. Hokiloki, do you have a second one for us by any chance that we could squeeze in?
Martial arts trainer Eric Woe changed the name of his Basingstoke business from Woe Karate after receiving both prank and threatening calls.
Well, threats isn't going to bother him. He can kill you with his finger, surely.
It depends how many calls you're getting. You know, sort of.
How many prank calls do you get a day?
Well, it's not the ones I'm getting; it's the ones I'm making.
And how ironic that he can't handle the bullies. Given that's why most people go and pick up a martial art, is to deal with the bullies. They just crumble under the first kind of hint of a pun. Is it plausible that he could have inadvertently come up with a really interesting pun, not realised it?
Very likely.
Because he's so tough, no one had the balls to tell him. You tell him. No, you tell him. No, he'll kill me. He'll literally kill me. What are your feelings, Harry? I will never know what Harry's feelings are. Get out again. Oh, my word. Yeah, Harry, what do you think? And he's gone. Well, yes, I'll give you Harry's opinions. This is outrageous. I don't know what Harry would say in this scenario. He's back again. I see, I'd like at this point to ask FlashArry if he thought it was true or false, but he's gone again.
Oh, he's gone again.
Now, can I just say, Hokiloki, this is not how every podcast episode goes, where
I figured
all the guests leave apart from you. It's like one of those parties that you've been invited to and someone's assured you there's going to be lots of people there, and you rock up and it's just you and the host, and you're like, oh
yes,
what have I signed up for? And the host is maybe wearing some elaborate fancy dress outfit or a toga or something. You're there, oh, I don't feel comfortable now. There's just me and this other person.
Yeah. Do you want help with the dishes? No.
You're fine. Yeah. Oh, Harry's back. FlashArry, true or false?
True.
And you're choosing not to elaborate upon that because you're worried that you might get cut off again.
Sounds sort of an over.
It's an over what? We'll never know because he's left again. So, kids at home, what was the word that Harry was trying to say? Was it overbite? Was it over and under? Overture? Over the top? Yeah. You see, we may never know. And that's FlashArry. And they do say the secret of great comedy is timing. And FlashArry doesn't have any of that. He cuts off right in the middle of a word. Oh, hold on, he's back again. I just feel like Harry isn't committed to this relationship. Is he there? Anyway.
So this is Quantum Harry. He's kind of there and not there.
Somewhere there's a weasel who's managed to log on to Zoom properly. So anyway, was it true or false?
It's false.
You little scamp, you. I'd have sworn that was a true one. Oh, no, very good. Well done. Excellent. Kudos to you. Finally, we reached the magic 8 ball.
The magic 8 ball!
Hokiloki, you're the only one giving us a prediction, so good luck on that. You're going to have to laugh 3 times as loud as normally to compensate for the lack of other people we have at this point. It's just you and me now, Hokiloki, and then intermittently Harry. I mean, this is the most ridiculous episode ever, and I have to say, congratulations, Hokiloki, that we start with 3 guests, and by the end of this episode, we're down to 1. It's like a really crap murder mystery.
Yes.
Someone's got a reboot of an Agatha Christie going, oh, yeah, no, we'll set it in a podcast studio. And at the end, there's only one person left. And I leave you with these headlines. Impoverished masochist is strapped for cash. Street artist expected to get arrested because the writing was on the wall.
Yes.
And finally, man who shells peas loves podcasts. I'd like to thank our guests, as few as they are, Mrs. Wrenfoe, Hokiloki, and FlashArry. And that brings us to the end of this episode. And I can reveal this month's winner is anyone hoping to bring about the rapture.
You've been listening to NewsBiscuit. NewsBiscuit is not only free for all readers, but we also accept submissions from any budding satirists, young or old. Visit newsbiscuit.com to submit headline stories and to support new writers.
NewsBiscuit. Real fake news.
If you stop fiddling with it, it works, which is a story of my